Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today we're going over 24 different whiskeys. I would say bourbons, but there's a good amount of ryes in here. I think there's an American light whiskey trickled in here somewhere. It'll be quick and dirty reviews. I will put in timestamps, so if you go in the description and you're looking for a certain review, just click on that time, it'll bring you right to it. But first, let's do a giveaway. All right, so this giveaway is for the Elijah Craig 15 video. So you'll get 2 ounce samples of that, the 18, and the other 2 bottles that were in there. And the winner is Jim LeBlanc 2946. Email is in the description. Congratulations. As always with these videos, this is for my Whiskey Cigar Club, so there's a few different people, and I'll go over my notes that I got on the bottle, my score, the group score, and where it ranked in the 12. So how we do it is it's blind for everyone, half blind for me. I am the one pouring them. I usually forget. We do 4 at a time, so you'll see me talk about 4 bottles at a time. It's the order that we drink them in. Usually I put them in proof order, and it's 2 different Whiskey Cigar Clubs. So let's get into the first lineup. All right, so this was our first lineup, as you can see on the table right now. One thing you'll see in all 24 bottles is a lot of these bottles I brought back from my trip to Kentucky, Indiana. So you'll see like 4 different new Riff bottles. You're gonna see 5 different 4-gate bottles because they were on sale at Party Source. So a lot of the bottles were from that trip. Also, I'll say the first 12 bottles we're gonna go over, the scores were much tighter because a lot of the bottles were, none of them bottles were bad and none of the bottles were like crazy good, but they're all decent. There was more fluctuation in the second 12 bottles. Let's get into the first one. So the first one is this Swagger 13 year. I got this in the mail, even though I got to try it in Kentucky at Revival. I actually got to try the ryes that they have, and I didn't love them enough for the price because these are like a $175, so not cheap. But I did get this shipped to me from a store in New York, so not too far. On the nose, oak cherry sweet bourbony. On the palate, sweet oak chocolate vanilla bourbon rich. Finish sweet vanilla oak chocolate rich. It is very good. I do enjoy this bottle. Too expensive for what it is, for sure, but man, look at that bottle. That bottle is nice. If you can kind of see in the middle, maybe there's a cardinal in there. We actually killed 2 of these bottles in Kentucky. Our buddy P actually took both bottles home because he drove there from South Carolina. So killed 2 bottles so you can get the bottles. I scored this a 3.75 and the group scored a 3.53 and it came in 5th place overall. And then we have this Virginia Cigar Blend, which I also ordered this online. Me and my buddy got 2 for I think maybe free shipping or something, and we split it. On the nose, peanut butter cookies, malt, dark fruit. On the palate, malt, dark fruit, light raisins, figs. On the finish, funky malt, dark fruit, raisins. I scored a 3.3. The group actually liked this better than me, which I was shocked by this. A 3.45, it came in 7th place. This is good with a cigar. I have, as you can see, I've had a few pours out of it. I did have this with a couple of cigars, so pretty decent pairing. Okay, now we're going to the Silver Groves. I have all 4 that they had at New Riff. So I have the 3 bourbons and 1 rye from this year. This one is the 2025 Silver Grove, and these are New Riff Distillery only, so you can only get at them at the distillery. I was able to try at the bar upstairs the 26 and the 26 bourbon and 26 rye. And then while we're walking out, basically, the guy's like, oh, but we sell the 25 and 24 downstairs of the bourbons too. I was like, well, shoot, I would have tried those too. I did try the 25. I thought I liked the 25 better than 26. We'll see, because I don't know how I score them, how it actually played out. But the 25 on the nose, vanilla fudge, milky. On the palate, darker grilled tomato, crafty, sweet like coffee. That's a weird palate. On the finish, grilled tomato, crafty, savory. So definitely those craftier notes, kind of like the journeyman's with those grilled tomatoes. I scored a 3.25, which would be my lowest score in the whole 12 bottle lineup. The group score of 3.3 came in 11th place. So that means I had to like the 26 better than this. I'm quickly looking at the scores. And then we have the rye. It's a 2026 release. It's on the neck tag right there. And I did try this at the distillery. I would have to hated it for not to buy it because these weren't that expensive, like 60 bucks, and they had discounts if you bought like 3 bottles. If you bought 6 bottles, is another discount. On the nose, spice, rye, almond, liqueur, Dr. Pepper. On the palate, spice, sweet, dark fruit. On the finish, spice, darker, dark fruit, sweet, vanilla. I score a 3.5. The group score a 3.53. It came, tied with 5th place with actually the Swagger. All right, let's go into the second 4. All right, now we get into the second lineup here. This will be in the next video's review. I haven't recorded it, but my plan is to review this new 20th anniversary Bernheim 10-year age stated wheat whiskey. I want to blind this versus a barrel proof edition and a couple other wheat whiskeys, including the Maker's Mark one, the Star Hill Farms, and I put the bottles away. They were on the table the other day. So that should be the next video. On the nose, cherry, oak, spice, nutty. On the palate, sweet, candy, strawberry, vanilla, oak, light spice. On the finish, sweet, light, strawberry, vanilla, ice cream, spice. I score a 3.7. The group scored a 3.41, so they did not like it as much as I did, and it came in 8th place. We'll see how it stacks up against the other wheat whiskeys. Stay tuned, should be the next video. Okay, then we go back into the Silver Groves, and this one is the 2026 version. Again, on the neck tag, and I'm going to do a whole video just on the Silver Grove, so I'll talk a little bit more about each year, what they did differently. That might be one of the coming up videos for sure. That's why I bought 4. This one, the 2026 version, spice, floral, light, honey syrup. On the palate, dark fruit, spice, chocolate chip cookie, strawberry, sweet. Finish, dark fruit, darker, spice, red fruit. I score a 3.4. The group score a 3.61. It came in 3rd place overall. And then we have the Silver Grove. This is the 2024 version. Sweet, bourbon, strawberry, vanilla. On the palate, sweet, candy, oak, strawberry. On the finish, sweet, slight funky, dark fruit. I scored a 3.8. The group did not like this. It scored a 3.23, came in last place. So I'm curious on why I like this one so much better than the 26 on scoring, because the notes look like a lot better on the 2026. We'll see when I review them, just the 4 of them against each other, and kind of see how they play out. Then we have this Dream Spirit. This is 11.5 year, and this is obviously a local pick. It is signed right on the bottom. Look at that. They had a few different signed ones by Prov. They had like a whole dinner and stuff like that for the release of this. Did not go to the dinner because they sold out right when I went to go click on it. that was a whole thing. From what I'm being told, I don't know if I'm actually allowed to say it or not, but there may or may not be Booker juice in this, like the whole thing. So basically 11.5-year-old Bookers. On the nose, peanut butter, oak, cinnamon. On the palate, red fruit, red Jolly Rancher, sweet oak, a little funky, proof, strawberry, vanilla. On the finish, dusty, long oak, sweet, spice. I scored a 3.85, which would have been tied for my 1st place. The group scored a 3.56, and it came in 4th place overall. And if you remember when I was talking about in the Bookers video, the video before this video, how my buddy, who's a Bookers fan, picked out the 2 Bookers, this was one of his favorite ones. Let's get into the last 4. All right, we get into the final 4 of this Whiskey Cigar Club, and we have this rare character. This is batch 2. This is straight rye whiskey, and this is 2026, right? Yep, so 2026. I am trying to keep everything current on the channel, so if I see 2025, I'm skipping it. I'm trying to buy only 2026 stuff. This one, on the nose, vanilla, light spice. On the palate, green Jolly Rancher, spice, oak. Finish, spice, sweet. To me, not very complex. It's literally the one that has the most white space there. Score 3.5. The group score 3.34. Came in 9th place overall. All right, then we have this bottle that people have been hyping up last year. The Silver Springs. I got this in Indiana because I've never seen it in Connecticut. When I saw it, like, I gotta get this. So this Silver Springs Sweet Rye, bottle 2026. It is a release from this year, so it's definitely contention for Rye of the Year once I talk about it. The proof is 124. Spice, light, crafty, grilled tomato. On the palate, oak, dusty, red Jolly Rancher, sweet, very good. On the finish, woody, sweet, vanilla spice. I scored this a 3.8. The group scored it a 3.83, and it came in 1st place. Again, not everyone's a rye fan, and for the fact that this rye, which is like 40 bucks, won this lineup, insane. It's like this, the most expensive bottle up here is probably the Swagger 13 year, which was around $175. Maybe the Dream Spirits might be a little bit more expensive. I forget the price of that off the top of my head. You'll see a bottle haul video soon. All these were in my bottle haul. But this Silver Springs, if you see it by you for 40 bucks, I would definitely pick it up. That is a highly recommended for me. That is so good. And I'll definitely do like a Friday video soon with this one and probably the Sazerac Foolproof, and kind of see which one's better, because those 2 ryes right there in my head are like best of this year. Let's go to the Booker's 2026-01. This is the Big Easy batch, and I just reviewed this versus my favorite Bookers of last year, so it's literally the video right before this one. On the nose, dark, sweet, nutty, peanut. On the palate, strawberry Laffy Taffy, oak, vanilla, sweet, red fruit, spice, grapes. On the finish, sweet oak, strawberry, vanilla, red fruit, spice. I don't know if that's what I got the other day when I tried it. I scored a 3.85. This came in first place for me, or it tied for first place with me with the other Booker's Juice Dream Spirits, which is insane to me that the two Bookers did so well. The group score of 3.8, it came in second place, so literally just got beat out by this crazy good rye. As I said in the video where I compared this to the 2025 winner, the 2025-04, I did like this one significantly better. So we'll see how Booker's plays out this year, because the first release is pretty good. Okay, then to finish it up, we have this Rare Character Kentucky Straight Whiskey Batch 2 2026 release, and it is very high proof. It's like 139.8. On the nose, spice, vanilla ice cream, slight funky. On the palate, oak, darker sweet red fruit. On the finish, oak, darker sweet spice, peanut. I scored a 3.75. The group scored a 3.34, and it came in 9th overall. All right, so let's get into the next Whiskey Cigar Club's lineup. All right, so now we get into the next lineup, and like I was saying in the beginning, this lineup, the scores were kind of all over the place. Different people score a little bit differently. This first four lineup came in last out of the whole group. It goes 12, 11, 10, 9 in that order. It is crazy how that kind of worked out, like the worst one to getting better. I bought all of these and some other bottles in this lineup at Party Source in Kentucky. Huge store. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the store. It's right in the same parking lot as New Riff. Apparently the owner of Party Source sold it to his employees so he could start up New Riff, whole thing. But this store is like bigger than a Walmart. It is ginormous, this store. And we only were in like the Bourbon area, and we don't see the Pursuit United. I got confused. I 100% thought these were the bottles that we were having at Kentucky Bourbon Fest last year, but I'm pretty sure those were like the cask strength ones, and these are the double oaked, and so these aren't as good as I was remembering. That's why I bought them, unfortunately for me. But let's get into it. We got the Pursuit United Rye. This is 108 proof. Double oaked rye. On the nose, sweet, Windex question mark, red fruit, nutty, musty. On the palate, ethanol, sweet, corn. On the finish, sweet, light, nutty, spice. I scored 3.25. The group scored 2.88. So not good. Came in last place. Then we have the double oaked bourbon, and this is 108 proof too. Yep, 108 proof. On the nose, honey, dark fruits, nutty, musty. On the palate, moonshine, corn. On the finish, moonshine, peanut butter, crackers. I shouldn't be drinking moonshine out of something that looks this dark. Not good. I scored at 3.75. The group scored a 2.94. Came in 11th place. Then we go into the four gates, and there's going to be, I think, 5 in this lineup. Party Source had them discounted $150 off. So if you've ever bought a four gate, you probably paid $200 for it. I have multiple four gates that I paid $200 for. When I saw that they were $150 off, I'm like, well, now we're bringing it down to a price that's more manageable. So I bought every single one that they had. So if you're near Party Source and you see one that you like or hear about the notes or whatever, definitely go pick it up, because the price is fantastic. So we have this 4-gate Peri Peri 8-year rye. On the nose, sweet, candy, red Jolly Rancher, oak. On the palate, earthy, red fruit, sweet, Skittles. I remember saying that note and everyone like chuckled. I've never said Skittles before, but it was like candy. On the finish, vanilla, strawberry, candy. Very sweet. I scored a 3.6. The group scored a 3.3, and it came in 10th place. And then we have this 4-gate Andalusia Key Rye 7-year, and light, honey, nutty, dark fruits. On the palate, dark fruit, youthful. On the finish, honey, dark fruit, sweet. I scored a 3.5. It's kind of going back and forth between these two actually to see which one I liked better. The group scored a 3.16, so they liked a little bit better, and that came in 9th place. So let's get into the next 4. All right, we're going to the next 4, and this first one is a new release. Does it say 2026 on it at all? Let me look. Oh, batch 26-1901. I know it just hit a store, and the store was selling it for at cost, which is insane, but this is a 7-year-old barrel strength LE, so you know it's good, from Penelope. On the nose, peanut butter, oak, sweet, slight crafty, slight banana. On the palate, watery, red fruit, Look at my score right now. Yeesh. Finish, red fruit, watery. I wasn't the biggest fan. I scored a 3. The group did score a 3.41, so they obviously liked it better than I did. It came in 7th place overall. We have this Copper and Cask cigar pick that Party Source did, and I did get to try it at the store. I was gonna buy it regardless. You know me, I'm a sucker for cigar blends. This is finished in Armagnac, Port, Cognac, and Sherry cask. 8-year, 57.8 ABV, WS10. What does that mean? Interesting. So this says private batch, right? But there's 26 barrels in it. And it's MGP, it says Lawrenceburg on it, 8 years. I thought this was a store pick by Party Source, and they had it open for people to try, and they were pushing it. They had a bunch of it. I'm sure they didn't buy 26 barrels of it. I know that store is ginormous, but that'd be crazy. So I wonder if it's just like multiple stores did this. I don't know. If you know, please let me know. But I was able to try this at the store. So on the nose, red fruit, sweet candy, oak. On the palate, butterscotch, sweet, dark fruit, a little off-putting. On the finish, sweet, slight, nutty, oak, vanilla, okay. I scored 3.25. The group scored a 3.43. It came in 6th place overall. And again, I did have this with a cigar. A lot of these bottles, like a lot of the 4 gates, I also have with cigars. They were all pretty decent. You know, a lot of these 4 gates are finished in multiple things. So I was like, that's basically a cigar blend. You know, there's no official term for cigar blend. Okay, so then we go to this. This is a 4-gate Bourbon Downunder high rye bourbon whiskey finished in Australian Apera sherry casks. So that's pretty cool. On the nose, sweet, red fruit, nutty, rich. On the palate, nutty, dark fruit, oak, richer. On the finish, vanilla, oak, dark fruit, richer. So a rich pour. I did like this quite a bit. I scored a 3.75. The group scored a 3.62. Came in 3rd place overall. I would say for the 5, that was the highest scoring 4-gate. Spoiler. This Downunder one was my favorite and the group's favorite. We have this other 4-gate. This is a Barossa Creek, a blend of straight bourbon and straight rye whiskeys finished in Australian tawny port casks. This was no slight banana moonshine. Again, don't like that note. On the palate, dark fruit, oak, sweet. On the finish, dark fruit, oak, spice. So the palate and finish didn't give me that moonshine note, so that's good. I scored a 3.5. The group scored a 3.45. Came in 5th place overall. Let's get into the final 4. All right, we get into the final 4, and obviously the proof was getting higher. Now you see a Stagg Jr up here. All right, so we have this 4-gate Andalusia Key 2 Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in Spanish Oloroso Sherry Dark Rum Cask. This one on the nose, nutty, dark fruit, sweet, slight banana. On the palate, did that say smoky? It does say smoky. Smoky, oak, slight banana, vanilla, nutty. On the finish, vanilla, sweet, oak. Scored a 3.5. Group scored a 3.37. It came in 8th place. Another bottle I picked up at New Riff, and literally I had the 4 Silver Groves up there, and the guy's like, if you buy 2 more bottles, you'll save like, I don't know, what was like 10% or whatever it was. And so I picked up one of their new make bottles, which was like 12 bucks. And I was like, well, what other bottle do you recommend? He said, definitely go pick up our New Riff single barrel 6-year. This was something I think they picked out themselves at the distillery. And he said it was, you know, very unique, very different. It is slight Tabasco. Oh yeah, this was the crazy one. It is different, I'll tell you that right now. So on the nose, slight Tabasco, sweet candy, purple Jolly Rancher, black licorice. On the palate, rye, sweet, earthy, spice. On the finish, spice, rye, proofy. I feel like the nose was way more complex than on the palate and finish, but I scored a 3.4. The group scored a 3.54. They did enjoy this a lot. It came in 4th place overall. Then we get into the 2 bottles that won. Things I didn't pick up in Kentucky. This Stagg Jr, this is 25D, and I won this at auction. You'll see in the bottle haul. I did pay up for it, unfortunately, but it is very good, so I guess I can't complain too much. On the nose, purple Jolly Rancher, sweet oak. On the palate, purple Jolly Rancher, oak, sweet. On the finish, sweet oak, proof. So not very complex, but you know I'm a sucker for that purple Jolly Rancher note. Scored a 3.6. The group scored it higher than me with a 3.71. It came in 2nd overall. And a pick that I picked up that day of Whiskey Cigar Club is this Nashville Barrel Company. This is a single barrel, 10 years old. This is collaboration a pick between Because Bourbon and Connecticut Bourbon Bastards. I'm a member of the Connecticut Bourbon Bastards, so I went to go pick it up. You know, cool little pick that they picked up. I didn't write too many notes on this, but the group really loved it. I literally wrote on the nose, palate, and finish, nutty and sweet. That's all. I scored a 3.5. It was decent, and you know, it's fresh crack. And it was also the last pour of the 12, so you know, add that to it. I will try it again. I'll probably compare this to some other NBC stuff in the future once it opens up a little bit more. The group score 3.79. It came in first place. You know, people are ranting and raving about this pick in Connecticut, so pretty sure it's sold out. You know, they did like a pre-sale thing. So that's the 24 bottles for the month of April. So obviously I'm going to do a video on the Silver Groves, have 4 of those. I'll do a whole video on the 4 gates. I have a few open. You know, I probably can do 8-way blind. Not that I want to do an 8-way blind, but we'll see. So if you saw anything outside of those, I do want to compare the Swagger 13 versus last year's 12 year, because those are both pretty good. The Bernheim will be probably the next video, like a wheat whiskey video. So if you saw anything outside of those that you want to do a review, definitely leave a comment what are your opinions on any of these bottles. Don't look stupid. And if you do, don't get caught. Bye.